Scam number 10, the free check that somehow turns into a $2,000 repair list. You walk in for a simple oil change. 20 minutes later, they're telling you your car is unsafe, leaking, misaligned, and one drive away from disaster. Funny how it felt perfectly fine pulling in, right? That moment of pressure is where thousands disappear. Today, I'm breaking down the 10 repair scam shops use to flip small visits into massive bills. You sit in the waiting area, relaxed, then the service writer walks back holding a health report with a straight face, and suddenly your Jeep has a crisis you never felt on the drive in. The page looks simple, but it hits hard because every box turns red and every red line sounds urgent, and your brain starts paying before your mouth even answers. This scam runs on word tricks. They call the inspection free, they call the list helpful, and then they read it out loud in a tone that turns recommend into required inside your head. That shift happens fast because they stand there waiting and silence feels like pressure. Then the bundle comes out like a combo meal: wipers, cabin filter, tire rotation, fuel system service, throttle body cleaning, and the total climbs toward $1,800 even though nothing felt broken. You are not buying repairs yet, you are buying relief from the awkward moment. So flip the power with one clean question: show me what failed and what the spec is. Real problems show up as numbers, thickness, measurements, codes, leaks, play. Fluff shows up as vibes and a shrug. Consumer agencies tell drivers to slow down and ask how pricing works, because flat rate labor can hide padding, and pricing method changes everything. Some shops even rate your Jeep urgent from a generic checklist, even when your model and trim use different intervals and parts. Stay alert, because the small fee arrives right after. That fee opens the door to the diagnostic trap. Scam number 9, we need to diagnose it, is code for pay first, ask later. One dash light flickers once. Somehow that turns into a bill that bites. They say diagnostic like it means a quick scan and a simple answer. But the invoice can quietly include time, teardown, testing, and shop supplies. And that is where people lose control. You think you approved a scan, they treat it like approval for a whole block of time, and time is where the money hides. This is where written rules stop the bleeding. In California, repair dealers generally have to give an estimate and get authorization before work. And regulators warn you about teardown charges when a shop takes things apart just to estimate. That teardown can cost money even if you walk away, which means you can pay before a single repair solves anything. So box the whole situation in. Tell me the diagnostic fee cap in writing and list what you do inside that cap. A cap like $195 stays tight when it is written. Depends usually means no ceiling. Then you add one more line that keeps you in charge. If you find something, do you stop and call me first? You want a clean yes, because that yes blocks the surprise wrenching. Florida adds another hard edge here. Florida's statute calls for a written estimate when repairs exceed $150, and it even says the estimate comes before diagnostic work. Once you agree to diagnose, watch their story pivot. They often jump straight to an oil leak. Scam number 8, it's leaking, but they can't show you the leak on your Mercedes. They say oil leak casually. Your brain instantly imagines a puddle. Leaks sell fast because most people never crawl under their Jeep, so a tech can point at a damp area and call it active. Maybe it seeps. Maybe it's spilled during a past service. Maybe it is residue from somebody else's mess. The scam starts when you pay for a story instead of paying for proof. So force the claim into reality. Show me the leak point, not the wet area. Ask for a photo, a mirror view, UV dye evidence, or at least the exact source location, valve cover gasket, oil filter housing, rear main, pinion seal, transmission pan, transfer case output. A real source has a name, and a real source can be shown. Then ask the follow-up that decides urgency. What is the fluid level today? A seep that never drops level lives in a different world than a leak that eats a quart. This is also where parts language can get slippery. Some states' rules require estimates to list parts and labor clearly and describe each part as new or used. And part status matters because a seal job can hide cheap parts and inflated labor behind one neat label. A lot of leaks on 4x4s come from undercoating, road grime, or a sloppy oil change that got baked on and later looks fresh. And when fear runs low, they crank it up with brakes. That is where the pressure gets loud. Scam number 7, the brake scare. Dangerous to drive with 0 numbers to prove it. They lower their voice at the counter. They say unsafe, then wait for your panic. Brake fear works because it hits safety, and safety makes people pay fast. But brake wear has measurements, not vibes. Pads have thickness in millimeters. Rotors have thickness compared to minimum spec. Fluid condition can be checked with a tester. If they cannot give numbers, they are selling fear, not facts. So keep it direct. What is the pad thickness front and rear? Then, what is the minimum spec? If they answer with low, push again, give me the exact number. A real shop has it in seconds. A fear shop hides behind scare words. Then the upsell stack starts climbing. Pads become pads plus rotors. Rotors become calipers. Calipers become brake fluid flush. And suddenly you face $1,200 plus for a routine brake job on a Jeep that still stops straight. Consumer guidance keeps pointing to clear pricing and whether labor is flat rate or actual time, because labor rules can swing the total fast, and urgent repairs create cover for padding. Some shops even use a green-yellow-red chart that marks red at a thickness many manufacturers still consider serviceable for normal driving. When brakes stop working as a scare lever, they go for alignment, because alignment sounds technical and expensive. Scam number 6. They push an alignment but won't show the before/after printout. Your steering feels normal. They claim your alignment is way off anyway. Alignment is one of the few services that should come with proof you can read. The machine measures toe, camber, caster, and it prints the before and after values quickly. So when a shop pushes alignment but refuses a printout, that refusal is the whole story. So you stay calm and make it simple. Show me the before sheet. If they say the printer broke, ask for a photo of the screen. If they dodge again, you just learned the pitch mattered more than the numbers, and numbers matter here. This gets extra nasty on cars because bigger tires and lifted setups make shops act like every wear mark is your fault. They sell alignment as a cure for a problem that might be tire pressure, a worn track bar bushing, or a loose tie rod end, and that means you pay for angles while the real issue stays alive. Paperwork also protects you here. Regulations in places like California require an estimate before work and authorization from you, and that makes it harder for a shop to just do it and charge you afterward. Some shops sell alignment when the real issue is a worn suspension part they do not want to diagnose properly. Then they move to the biggest receipt of all. They point at tires and start doing math. Scam number 5. You need tires when your Jeep really needs one small adjustment. They point at your tread and speak fast. You feel rushed into a buy today decision. Tires are easy to sell because they are visual, but a lot of Jeep tire problems come from simple stuff: wrong pressure, uneven rotation schedule, a bad balance, a bent wheel, or a loose front-end component that chews one edge. A shop that jumps straight to tires might be skipping the real cause on purpose. So you fire 3 questions in a row. First, what is the tread depth in 32/100ths on each tire? Second, which edge is wearing and why? Third, show me the alignment sheet or the suspension play check that supports that. If they cannot explain the pattern, they are guessing, and guessing costs money. Then the bill grows in layers: premium tire quote, mounting, balancing, disposal, TPMS service, shop fees, and your $900 set turns into $1,400 out the door before you even process it. The FTC's consumer advice keeps coming back to one idea: ask how the shop prices work before you agree, because pricing method can inflate totals fast, and surprise totals keep the game alive. Some shops recommend replacement when tread is uneven, even though fixing the cause first can extend tire life significantly. Then they hit you with the calmest lie. They say lifetime fluid like a comfort blanket. Scam number 4. The lifetime fluid lie that slowly wrecks your transmission. They say it with confidence. Transmission fluid lasts forever, and you relax. That line has cooked automatic transmissions because heat and wear keep working even when the marketing sounds soothing. A lot of modern Jeeps run ZF-based 8-speed automatics, and the word lifetime gets thrown around like physics changed. Here is the part people miss. ZF, the transmission maker, has described service intervals for many 8 HP units, around 8 years, and roughly 50,000 to 75,000 miles depending on use, even while some automakers push lifetime fill language. So when a shop says, never service it, ask, lifetime of what? Lifetime of warranty, lifetime of fluid, lifetime of a lease. That one question exposes the game. Then a different shop flips the script and says, you missed it, now you need a full flush plus filters plus additives. And you still ask for proof, fluid condition, metal in pan, symptoms, codes. A flush on a worn unit can create problems, and bad shops use that risk to sell fear both ways. Towing, off-roading, and heat cycles can push a Jeep transmission into severe duty behavior even when weekdays look normal. Once fluids turn into confusion, they start selling invisible fixes. That is where computer updates show up. Scam number 3. They charge for computer updates you didn't even ask for. Your Mercedes runs fine, then programming appears on the invoice like magic. Software sounds technical, so people accept it without a fight. That is the scam. Update becomes a blanket excuse for extra labor, reflash, module sync, calibration, configuration, and you pay without any clear outcome. So you force accountability with a simple chain. What symptom does this fix? Then, what code or bulletin supports it? Then, what happens if we skip it today? If they answer cleanly, fine. If they cannot, you just found filler charges dressed up as expertise. This connects right back to estimates and authorization rules. Regulators emphasize that you authorize repairs and get an estimate, because that blocks surprise work and surprise pricing. The estimate first keeps you in control. Concrete example, some shops charge update after a battery replacement, claiming they had to relearn everything. Sometimes a relearn is real, sometimes it takes minutes. The invoice can still show an hour, and that hour becomes a charge you never expected. Sometimes software charges also hide outsourced work, where they pay a third party and mark it up, and you never see that middle step. After the software, they go for parts because parts pay big. That is where the ugliest scam lives. Scam number 2, the parts scam. Junk parts billed like real OEM Mopar stuff. They say OEM quality with a straight face. You never see the box, and that is the point. Parts scams come in 2 forms. First, markup games. They quote a part at a huge price, call it dealer only, and hope you never check the part number. Second, counterfeit or low-grade safety parts that look real enough until they fail, and that can get dangerous fast. This is not paranoia. U.S. safety regulators have warned about dangerous replacement airbag inflators. NHTSA's January 30th, 2026. Update says 9 people died and 2 severe injuries happened in 11 crashes where a replaced airbag inflator ruptured and shot metal fragments, with many inflators likely illegally imported. That is the kind of risk that turns a cheap part into a nightmare. So on a Jeep, treat airbags, brakes, steering, suspension, and sensors like no-joke territory. Ask for the OEM part number on the estimate. Ask if the part is new, used, rebuilt, or aftermarket, because regulations like California's spell out that parts listed should be new unless identified otherwise, and clear labeling protects you. Counterfeit parts often show up after collision repairs because that supply chain can get messy fast and people stop asking questions once the body looks good. After parts, the final trap needs one thing: a signature that gives them permission to run wild. Scam number 1. The signature trap that lets them do work you never approved. They slide the clipboard over fast. That rush is the warning sign. They say, just sign here so we can start. And it sounds harmless, but vague work orders turn into permission. And later, when you argue about what you approved, the shop points at the ink and treats the fight like your problem. Regulators built whole guides around this. California's Bureau of Automotive Repair explains estimate and authorization expectations, and warns drivers to approve repairs before work begins. And it even talks about teardown charges and how authorization can be written, oral or electronic. Authorization first is the line that keeps you safe. So do this in a way that leaves no wiggle room. Refuse blank language. Refuse as needed. Refuse bundles with no itemization. Make them list labor and parts separately. Make them write the diagnostic cap. Make them list exact part numbers. Ask for your copy right now while everyone still remembers what was said. If they act offended, treat that as information. Honest shops love clear paperwork because it protects them too. Shops that push you to sign fast rely on social pressure, embarrassment, and the feeling of a line forming behind you. Your Jeep stays safe when your pen stays parked, because one rushed signature can cost you thousands. If any of this hit close to home, share your experience below. And if you want to stay ahead of the next trap, tap the next video on your screen right now.